The text from my sister Vanessa arrived at 9:47 a.m. on Thanksgiving morning. Mom wants to know what time you're coming. Also, maybe use the side door? We have important guests and want to make the right impression. You understand. I stared at my phone screen in the back of the Tesla, trying to process what I'd just read. The side door. The service entrance that opened into the mudroom off my parents' kitchen. The door we'd been taught growing up was for deliveries and contractors, not family. Everything okay, Ms. Reeves? My driver, Carlos, glanced at me in the rearview mirror. Fine, I said automatically, then reconsidered. Actually, change of plans. Drop me at my apartment first. I need to pick something up before we head to my parents' house. I'd been planning to arrive at noon for the family Thanksgiving dinner, same as every year. But apparently this year was different. This year my family was hosting the mayor and his family, along with several other prominent local figures. And this year I was being asked to use the service entrance so I wouldn't embarrass them. The irony was so profound it was almost funny. I typed back, "What time should I arrive?" Vanessa's response was immediate. 2:30? After everyone else gets here. Just easier that way. And seriously, the side door. Mom's really stressed about everything being perfect. My younger sister, the golden child, was hosting Thanksgiving at our parents' house as if it were her own event. She'd been planning it for months. Ever since she'd started dating Marcus Chin, whose father happened to be Mayor Raymond Chin. Suddenly, Vanessa had access to a social circle she'd always aspired to, and she was leveraging it for all it was worth. "This is my breakthrough moment," she told me 6 weeks ago over coffee. "Do you know how many people would kill to have the mayor at their Thanksgiving table? This could open so many doors for me professionally." Vanessa worked in public relations for a mid-sized firm, handling social media for local businesses. It was respectable work, but she'd always dreamed of bigger clients, political campaigns, maybe even a position in city government. Dating the mayor's son was her golden ticket, and she was polishing it obsessively. What Vanessa didn't know, what none of my family knew, was that I'd met Mayor Chin multiple times over the past 18 months. We'd sat on panels together, attended the same fundraising dinners, collaborated on policy discussions about housing and economic development. He knew me as Alexandra Reeves, founder and director of the Reeves Foundation for Urban Development, one of the largest philanthropic organizations in the state. My family knew me as Alex, the quiet oldest daughter who did something with nonprofits and lived modestly in a downtown apartment. They'd never asked for details and I'd never volunteered them. After years of being compared unfavorably to Vanessa's flashier, more visible career, I'd learned to keep my professional life private from family gatherings. "We're proud of you, sweetie," my mother would say vaguely when relatives asked about my work. "Alex helps people. It's very noble." Then she'd turn to Vanessa and spend 20 minutes discussing her latest campaign or client acquisition, her voice bright with genuine enthusiasm. My father was more direct. "Nonprofit work is admirable, Alex, but it's not exactly a career path to prosperity. Look at your sister. She's building real equity, making connections that matter." They had no idea that the Reeves Foundation had assets exceeding $200 million, that we'd funded affordable housing developments across 3 states, that my modest apartment was actually a penthouse I owned outright in one of the city's most exclusive buildings. They saw what they wanted to see. Practical, unglamorous Alex, worthy of respect but not admiration, always slightly disappointing compared to brilliant Vanessa. And now they wanted me to use the service entrance. Back at my apartment, I checked my email and found the message I was looking for from Jennifer Park, the producer at Channel 7 News. Our foundation's latest initiative, a $10 million commitment to build affordable housing units across the city, was being featured on the evening news. The segment had been filmed 2 weeks ago, a 15-minute special about transformative philanthropy in urban development. "We're airing it during the 6 p.m. broadcast on Thanksgiving," Jennifer had told me during our final review session. "Viewership is actually quite high on Thanksgiving evening. Lots of families watching together after dinner." I pulled up the screening link she'd sent and watched the segment again. It opened with aerial footage of construction sites across the city, then cut to my interview in front of the foundation's headquarters. "Why housing?" the reporter asked. "Because stable housing is the foundation of everything else," I said on screen. "Children can't focus on education if they don't know where they'll sleep. Parents can't build careers if they're constantly worried about eviction. Housing security is human dignity. The segment detailed our projects. 300 units of affordable housing completed in the past year, 500 more in development, partnerships with city officials including extensive quotes from Mayor Chun about the foundation's impact. Alexandra Reeves has been a transformative partner for our city, the mayor said in his interview segment. The Reeves Foundation isn't just writing checks, they're solving systemic problems with sustainable solutions. This is the kind of leadership that changes communities for generations. The segment ended with me standing in front of one of our newly completed housing developments, families visible in the background moving into their homes. This is just the beginning, I said. We have the resources and the commitment to continue this work until every family in our city has access to safe, affordable housing. I checked my watch. It was 11:30 a.m. The news segment would air at 6 p.m., right around the time my family would be finishing their Thanksgiving dinner, probably lingering over dessert and coffee in the living room where the television was always on, tuned to the local news. I selected a simple outfit, dark jeans, a cashmere sweater, understated jewelry. Nothing that would draw attention or seem like I was trying too hard, as my mother had once accused me of doing when I'd worn a designer dress to a family wedding. Carlos drove me to my parents' house in the suburbs, pulling up to the circular driveway at exactly 2:30 p.m. Through the front windows I could see people mingling in the living room, wine glasses in hand, the picture of sophisticated holiday entertaining. I texted Vanessa, "I'm here." Her response, "Side door please. Kitchen is crazy but just come through." I walked around the side of the house, past the professionally landscaped gardens my mother was so proud of, to the mudroom entrance. The door was unlocked. Inside, I could hear the chaos of dinner preparation, my mother's voice directing the catering staff she'd hired for the occasion. "Alex." My mother appeared in the doorway between the mudroom and kitchen, wearing an apron over her designer dress. "Oh good you're here. Come help me with the vegetable platters. Vanessa is entertaining in the living room and I need." "Actually, Mom, I'd like to say hello to everyone first." Her expression tightened almost imperceptibly. "Of course, but maybe give me 15 minutes? I want to get these appetizers out and you know how you are at these things, kind of awkward with small talk. Just help me get organized first, then you can join everyone." Kind of awkward with small talk. The words stung less than they used to, cushioned by the years of experience I had networking with donors, politicians, and business leaders at high-stakes events where millions of dollars hung on my ability to connect and communicate. "I'll help," I said, because arguing would only create the scene my mother was trying to avoid. For the next 20 minutes, I arranged crudité and filled serving bowls while listening to my mother stress about everything being perfect. Through the doorway, I could see Vanessa holding court in the living room, Marcus at her side, her laughter carrying above the conversation. "The mayor seems very comfortable," I observed, watching him chat with my father near the fireplace. "Oh, he's wonderful," my mother gushed. "So down to earth considering his position. And Marcus is just perfect for Vanessa. This could really be serious, Alex. Your sister might end up married to the future mayor." "Marcus is running for mayor?" "Well, not yet, but everyone says he will eventually. The Chin family is political dynasty material." She arranged crackers on a plate with obsessive precision. "This is exactly the kind of connection that changes everything. Vanessa is so smart about these things, always has been." Unlike me, she didn't say, but the implication hung in the air between us. Finally, my mother deemed me presentable enough to enter the living room. I walked in quietly, trying not to draw attention, and immediately locked eyes with Mayor Chin across the room. His face lit up with recognition. "Alexandra. I had no idea you'd be here." The room went silent. Every head turned toward me, including my sister's, her expression shifting from confusion to something like alarm. Mayor Chin crossed the room and shook my hand warmly. "I should have realized. Vanessa Reeves, Alexandra Reeves. Are you two related?" "Sisters," I said simply. "Well, this is a wonderful surprise. I was just telling Marcus about the Foundation's latest housing initiative. Transformative work, absolutely transformative." My father appeared at my elbow, his confusion evident. "You two know each other?" "Know each other?" The mayor laughed. "Your daughter is one of the most influential philanthropists in the state. The Reeves Foundation has changed the landscape of affordable housing in our city. We've been working together for over a year now on various initiatives. I watched my family's faces process this information. My mother's smile had frozen in place. Vanessa looked like she'd been slapped. My father's expression cycled through bewilderment, disbelief, and something that might have been embarrassment. Alex runs the Reeves Foundation? Vanessa said weakly. The Reeves Foundation? Founded it 6 years ago, the mayor confirmed, apparently oblivious to the tension he'd created. Started with a $20 million endowment from her tech startup sale. Brilliant exit strategy, by the way, and grew it into one of the most impactful organizations in urban development. We're lucky to have her in our city. Marcus was staring at me with new interest. Wait, you're the Alexandra Reeves? From the Channel 7 special. What's special? Vanessa's voice was tight. The news feature about transformative philanthropy, Marcus explained. It's airing tonight at 6. Dad was interviewed for it. The foundation just committed $10 million to affordable housing. My mother's face had gone pale. $10 million? The segment is quite good, Mayor Chen said. Really captures the scope of what Alexandra has built. You must all be so proud. The silence that followed was excruciating. My family clearly didn't know what to say, how to reconcile the daughter and sister they'd categorized as modestly successful nonprofit worker with the reality of what the mayor was describing. Vanessa recovered first, her PR training kicking in. Of course we're proud. Alex has always been so dedicated to helping others. We just don't get to hear about her work very often. She's very private about her accomplishments. A rare quality, the mayor agreed. Too many philanthropists are more interested in recognition than impact. Alexandra lets the work speak for itself. My father found his voice. Alex, why didn't you mention you were working with the mayor? We had no idea the scope of your foundation. You never asked, I said simply. Whenever I tried to talk about my work, the conversation would shift to Vanessa's latest campaign or client. My words hung in the room like a heavy blanket. My parents' friends suddenly stared at their drinks. Well, my mother said loudly, we should sit for dinner. Everything is ready. The seating was planned carefully. The mayor sat near my parents. Marcus sat beside Vanessa, who looked thrilled. I was placed at the far end, next to a teenage cousin and an elderly aunt who couldn't hear well. But the mayor noticed. Why is Alexandra way down there? He asked. We need to discuss the housing project. My mother froze. Her plan fell apart. Everyone shifted seats awkwardly. I ended up between the mayor and a council member. Vanessa looked like she might cry. During dinner, people asked me questions nonstop. They wanted to know about the foundation, the projects, the partnerships. The mayor asked my opinion on development rules. The council member asked about budgets. My father's colleagues asked about the foundation's funding. My family sat quietly, confused by the confident version of me they were seeing. Mom, Vanessa whispered loudly, did you know any of this? No, my mother whispered. We knew she worked at a foundation, but not like this. Seems like you should have asked more questions, my aunt said bluntly. Dessert came at 5:45 p.m. Pumpkin pie, apple tart, chocolate cake. People moved to the living room for the tradition of watching the evening news. I looked at my watch. 5:52 p.m. 8 minutes until the segment. I sat slightly apart with my coffee. Vanessa tried to impress Marcus's mother. My mom showed off her art. The news started at 6 p.m. After a few stories, the anchor spoke in a serious tone. Tonight, a special report on philanthropy and urban development. The TV showed aerial shots of our building sites. Everyone stopped talking. All eyes went to the screen. The Reeves Foundation has committed $10 million. Then my interview appeared. I looked professional, confident, nothing like the girl told to use the side door earlier. Housing is a human right, I said on screen. My mother gasped. The report showed families we helped, praised our work, and highlighted our $200 million in assets. The mayor appeared, praising the foundation. The room went silent. Marcus's mother finally said, "That's incredible, Alexandra." My father stared at the screen. $200 million? The endowment grew over the years, I said. You sold a tech startup? My mother whispered. Yes. 6 years ago. That money started the foundation. Vanessa cried. Why didn't you tell us? I tried, I said. You just never wanted to hear it. Every time you changed the subject back to Vanessa. Vanessa said, "We didn't know." "You didn't ask," I replied. "You treated me like I was less. And today you made me use the side door so I wouldn't embarrass you in front of the mayor, who I've worked with for a year." My mother tried to apologize. "You meant what you said," I told her. The mayor stood up, uncomfortable. He and the other guests left quickly. The big, perfect dinner my mother planned was ruined. When only family remained, my mother collapsed on the couch. "How could you do this to us?" "Do what?" I asked. "Be successful. Do my job." "You made us look foolish," Vanessa snapped. "You made yourselves look foolish," I said. "Because you believed I wasn't worth paying attention to." My father asked, "What do you want?" "An apology." "I want nothing," I said. "I wanted a normal Thanksgiving. As part of the family. But you hid me away." I stood and put on my coat. "Where are you going?" my mother asked. "I have a board meeting tomorrow. I need to prepare." "On Thanksgiving weekend?" Vanessa said. "Yes. Important work doesn't stop for holidays." I walked out the front door. The door for people who are respected. In the car, the driver asked, "How was dinner?" "Illuminating," I said. My phone buzzed with messages from my family, pleading, apologizing, trying to explain. But I also had an email from the mayor, praising my professionalism and asking for a meeting. And a message from the news station. The segment was getting huge response. That mattered. Not my family's sudden embarrassment. Not their shock. Not their guilt. They hid me because they were ashamed of who they thought I was. Tonight they learned the truth. I was the most accomplished person in the room, and everyone knew it except them. For years they dismissed me. Tonight the truth revealed itself. And that was its own justice.